When you go to dictionary.com and ask for the meaning of Mary Sue, you see Mary Sue is a term used to describe a fictional character, usually female, who is seen as too perfect and almost boring for the lack of flaws. Originally written as an idealized version of an author in fan fiction. Now, the guy version of calling a character a Mary Sue is called Gary Stu. So technically for this video, the question is really, is Yuji a Gary Stu? But because the term Mary Sue is a lot more known, we'll just go with that for now for this video. Now, this question on whether or not if Yuji is a Mary Sue that I'm asking you guys, I feel you can have a genuine debate with this one. It can go either way. And I feel, as always, my personal take is that Akutami has taken the Mary Sue trope and flipped it on his head. But I'll get to that in a bit. Now, what are some examples of Mary Sues if you go by the definition I stated at the start of the video? In that it's a character that is too perfect, has lack of flaws or no flaws at all, and as a result of that, the audience will find the character boring. So this character is perfect, which could mean its character design being drawn in an aesthetically pleasing way to the fans. This character has no flaws, which could be interpreted as someone that can do no wrong. If they try and do something and they do it for the first time and in quick succession, they end up mastering whatever they were trying to do, when in comparison to normal characters would usually take years to complete that same task or action. And finally, boring. So this, I'm sure, is self-explanatory. A character that is so perfect that they always win, and you know that they will win, making the story predictable and as a result boring to the viewing audience. Now, let's look at some examples of Mary Sue characters from the top of my head. You can make the argument in saying that Rey from the Star Wars movies is a Mary Sue. In The Force Awakens, she knows how to fly the Millennium Falcon, and she goes toe-to-toe against Kylo Ren, who has been trained his whole life in lightsaber fights, but Rey ends up getting him to his knees in the fight between the two characters. Now, I know Palpatine is her granddad, which gives her that naturally gifted talent to use the Force and to be an elite fighter, but still, flying the Millennium Falcon when she's never been on it before and fighting a guy who has been trained since he was a kid. He even has his own elite fighting force known as the Knights of Ren. That's how revered Kylo Ren was. But Rey managed to make him look weak in that fight, and this is all in the first movie. I won't need to go through everything with Rey in all three of her movies, but you can get where I'm coming from when I say that she is a Mary Sue character. Another character which randomly popped into my head is Tai from Digimon Adventure 2020. I'm not sure how many of you guys have watched it, but in that series, Tai could literally do no wrong. Him and War Greymon took on Millenniumon and then Zed Millenniumon, who is the size of a small planet and is the strongest Digimon of all time. But Tai and his partner Digimon won the fight with the Spirit Bomb-esque Terror Force. And throughout that series, Tai was always there to save the day, especially in the second half of the show where you had one of the other main characters stranded in the digital world and would be fighting off against a powerful Digimon. Who would turn up and help the other character in that episode? Of course, our main hero Tai. Even against the elements, his partner Digimon always wins. His partner Digimon is mainly a fire user, and he was in the champion level, which is like stage 2 in terms of power level, with the mega level being stage 4 of the evolution process as the strongest, and the ultimate level being stage 3 as the second strongest in a Digimon. There are exceptions, of course, but I want to keep it nice and brief. So his partner Digimon is a fire user and is on stage 2 level of power, which is called Greymon. Greymon is fighting off against Mega Seedramon and Waru Seedramon, who are sea-based Digimon, who are at the ultimate level, stage 3 of the Digivolution process, meaning by default, they are both individually stronger than Greymon. But in Digimon Adventure 2020, there is a scene where Greymon is fighting both Mega Seedramon and Waru Seedramon at the same time underwater in the ocean. This is exactly what I mean by Mary Sue. Even if the odds are stacked against a Mary Sue type character, you know they will somehow either win or survive against the odds. Your tribal chief is a Digimon fan, so that's why I mentioned Tai and his partner Digimon in this context. But given the examples I've used for both Rey and Tai, you can make a strong case for both of these characters as Mary Sues. Even in wrestling, there was a period where John Cena was nicknamed Super Cena by the fans because he always wins. This was at Cena's peak, but fans got tired of it and started booing him out of the building because he always used to win. That whole notion of always winning and us fans knowing that this guy will win is the fundamental aspect of defining a Mary Sue type character. Now, When I look at Yuji, what can you say that makes him a Meiritsu type character? The guy was born with superhuman strength, easily overpowering cursed spirits with just his strength alone. Now, I know he had major help, but the fact that he was fighting 2 out of the 4 disaster curses, who are special grade level curses, despite just learning about Jujutsu sorcery not too long ago, you can make a case that this adds validity to the argument of him being a Meiritsu. Some of his feats, such as equaling the record amount of consecutive Black Flash attacks, despite literally just learning it, or the fact that he has insane durability. Look at chapter 214 when Sukuna took over Megami's body just a couple of chapters earlier. He sliced up Yuji badly in this scene. And we have seen in the first season of Jujutsu Kaisen that Sukuna's slice attacks even managed to kill a cursed womb spirit back in episode 4, which was a special grade curse level. But here, Yuji being a normal flesh and blood human managed to tank Sukuna's slice attacks. Something that even the special grade curses can't do. His durability, his superhuman strength, his heroic antics in which most of these Meiritsu characters have characteristics of. Look at the 3 examples I used with Rei, Tai and John Cena. All of these 3 characters are big heroic characters in their respective franchises, and Yuji himself is always putting himself on the line trying to save others, like how he saved Nanami against Mahito when he crashed Mahito's domain expansion back in season 1. And finally, the fact that he's picking up his understanding of cursed energy and techniques very quickly, case in point, Black Flash. So with these points, you can make a strong argument that Yuji is a Meiritsu. But the one thing for me that needs to be taken into account, and I mentioned this earlier on in this video, how Akutami has made his own twist on the Meiritsu character, which can be argued that Yuji is that type of character. However, throughout the story, and even in the anime a few episodes ago against Chozo, we see Yuji lose constantly. I even made a video talking about how Akutami is killing Yuji, detailing how he always loses throughout the series. So do go and check that video out if you haven't already. But yes, unlike the 3 example characters I used for Meiritsu, Yuji always loses. He even gangs up with another character against one of the main villains throughout the story. In season 1 alone, he ganged up against Hanami and Mahito, with Nanami and Todo. When Sukuna took over Megami's body, it was him and Maki ganging up against Sukuna, who himself admitted in chapter 215 that his cursed energy output is only at 10%, and he still couldn't do anything against Sukuna despite teaming up with Maki. Now look at the example I used with Tai and Greymon. Greymon is a fire user that is weak against water, and is fighting against 2 sea dragons underwater. John Cena famously defeated the Nexus back in SummerSlam 2010. The guy was a one-man army taking on 7 other wrestlers, and I know Cena had his own team, but look at the finish of that match and just witness how much of a Meiritsu he was during the peak of his Super Cena period. Yuji loses whilst ganging up against the villains, whilst Tai and John Cena get ganged up on against the odds and even the elements themselves, and they still somehow win. That's the difference on why I believe Yuji is not a Meiritsu. You can make this exact same point with Gojo. Gojo was known for many years amongst fans and in the Jujutsu Kaisen series itself that he is the strongest sorcerer in the world. In the big moments, he loses. His first loss against Toji resulted in the death of Riko, who was the star plasma vessel destined to merge with Master Tengen. He got trapped in the prison realm in Shibuya, which allowed Kenjaku to move forward in his plan in using the Cunning Games in Tokyo as a giant evil cursed ritual. And finally, he lost to Sukuna, where he gave the big talk at the beginning of the series when he mentioned to Yuji confidently that he will win. But as we all know, that wasn't the case. But again, just like Yuji, a character that seems perfect and has no flaws always ends up losing in the big moments. This is the twist Akutami did to these overpowered characters who on paper are Meiritsu characters, but because of the losses they get and the magnitude of the loss, it grounds them from all-powerful status to someone that you can actually relate to as a fan. With a traditional Meiritsu type character, you just have that feeling that you know they will win. Whether it's a last-minute power-up or some other technique that they always had dormant but never revealed so far in the story. But there's always that aura of them always winning. Rei, Tai in Digimon Adventure 2020, and John Cena during the Super Cena era had that all-powerful feeling to them, that you know that they will win regardless of what obstacle is in front of them. However, I have to say, I don't have that feeling with Yuji. If anything, it's the opposite. I expect him to lose. Even in the Gojo vs Sukuna fight, couldn't have guessed who would have won that fight. But if Gojo and Yuji were traditional Mary Sue characters, then I wouldn't have had any doubt that Gojo would have won his fight against Sukuna, and Yuji would have already been a grade 1 sorcerer in the short time he has discovered Jujutsu sorcery. But they didn't. In the big moments in the series, they have lost. Yuji didn't even get the kill against Mahito. It was Kenjaku who sealed him up. But anyway guys, let me go over to you guys. Do you think Yuji is a Mary Sue? Give me your reasons below on why you think that he is. And guys, I know I could have used a million examples of Mary Sue type characters, but I just wanted to keep it simple for you guys, which is why I used Rei, Tai, and John Cena as examples in this video. I know Rei has her fans that will argue she's not a Mary Sue, but if you just watch The Force Awakens by itself, she gives off that Mary Sue energy seething through her character. But yes, let's not make it about any other character. Let's just keep it to Yuji in the comments below. If you guys want more discussion style videos on Jujutsu Kaisen, please do comment below your suggestions. I will try my best to make these videos for you guys. But anyway, as I always say, don't forget to subscribe to the Shaman Tribe.